Hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome. I'm a little late today. I've been going live a little bit earlier, and to tell you the truth, I've kind of enjoyed it. I kind of like it. But tonight, first of all, it is freezing. I don't know where you are, but where I am, it is freezing. But I'm just like that though. Anyway, I digress. I was playing around with my email, and one of my email addresses was not working right. So I decided, I don't know why I did this. I decided to delete the email account off my phone and pretty much off everywhere, and then shutting off my phone and then turning it back on, which then I had to set it back up, and I couldn't remember the email. The password. Can you believe that? So it took me a while, basically. I was playing around with. I literally was gonna go live an hour and 10 minutes ago. But anyway, I was just playing around with that because I could not figure it out. I was driving me crazy, but finally figured it out. Anyway, I got a great little story for you tonight. This is one of those things that it not only touches your heart, but it should really open up your mind, right? So there's this show called Locked Up Abroad. One of my favorite shows. Don't ask me why, but I love this show. It's been on for years, and I've been watching it for years. Tonight I happened to catch an episode of this guy, Mike O'Brien, and what a story, right? So first of all, let me tell you about this show. Locked Up Abroad is a show about getting locked up abroad. So usually what happens is that these guys, a naive person, a guy, a girl, a couple, decide to do a small drug deal. Whether it's marijuana or coke or heroin or hash or what have you. They decide to do a very small deal just to get some extra cash, right? And usually it involves going to another country, right? And smuggling it back in, or they get talked into it when they're there. So obviously what happens is that, because of the show, these are the people that get caught. They actually get caught at the airport, at wherever, right? They get caught and they get put in to these incredible prisons, right? And you get to see these prisons and how people are treated around the world. And we're talking some of the most cruel, some of the most violent prisons in the world, right? And these guys, being foreigners, being in those prisons, you can imagine. And they're getting served, years and years for a small crime. So it's a really neat show, and it's on usually every Wednesday. I forget what channel. Just look it up. Locked Up Abroad. And what happens is that the guy or the gal, or the main character that gets caught is telling the story, is basically telling his story, true story, how it all started, how it went down, how he ended up in prison, or she ended up in prison, and what happened, and blah blah blah, right? And they serve their time, however much it is. Either they get granted some break, or they get released early, or they don't, what have you. But when they get out, they get to tell their story, and they tell their story in order to make a difference in people's lives. That a lot of times shortcuts are not there. You know what I mean? It's not there, and it's not worth it. So I love this show. It's a great show, right? And I love the ending, how it just gets wrapped up, and these guys are doing great things for the community now. A lot of them are, just really good stories. So tonight, I was watching this show, and Mike O'Brien, he gets, he's from America, and he's just fed up with a lot of stuff, and a lot of these folks are. They're just kind of tired of whatever, right? Life. No job, no life, no girl, no guy, no husband, no wife, just kind of frustrated with life. And this guy decides to go to India for a retreat. And it's supposed to be a love retreat, right? So you're supposed to go there and just enjoy life and get free and just be loved and love, right? And it's supposed to be for 6 months. So he gets up and he goes to this place in India. And at first he says, it's just incredible, right? Everything is changing. Hi, Moj Yanjun, how are you? Welcome, good to see you. Hopefully you catch the beginning too, because you're really gonna like this story. Really gonna like this story. So this guy, gets to India. This is the beginning pretty much of the story. He gets into India for this 6-month love retreat, right? And he gets there, and he's describing everything, and he says it's just beautiful. It's just so nice, and people are so nice, and everything is just so nice, and and he gets into this retreat, and he gets to know some people, and they're just kind of loving on him and just giving him hugs. And remember, it's a love retreat, right? So in just a short few hours, if you would, maybe minutes even, some girl comes up, and she's giving him love, and they start talking, and back and forth, they start talking and talking and talking. And so what happens is that, this is days after, what happens is that they go out clubbing and this and that, and what's common there, they're smoking hash, right? They're smoking hash, and this guy was his first time, and he described it. He said, this was just amazing. I felt amazing. I was with this girl, and so I was, she eventually told me, hey, I got this friend that I get some hash from, and then I sell it, and why don't you go with me? Go along with me. He decides, all right, I'll go with you. And then on the way there, she's all like, well, you could do this too. You could make some extra side money and this and that. And he's thinking, well, I am going to be running out of money while I'm here. So, I'll take a look at it. Why not? So they get there, they start talking to this guy, blah, blah, blah. And and the guy says, you know what? I'll tell you what. I will give you 6 kilos for $7,000. And the guy goes, whoa, I don't want 6 kilos, man. I just want a little bit, And he goes, well, that's all I can do, 6 kilos. And he says, well, you got to hold on to it for 6 months, because I'm not going to be going back home for 6 months. And the drug dealer looks at the lady, looks at the girl, looks at, he's all like, okay, fine. You know what? I'll keep it here for you for 6 months. But you got to pay me now. So he pretty much has, that's his savings almost. He pulls out the 7,000, gives it to the guy. They go away. 2-3 months go by, and this guy is running out of cash. The girl is gone to Amsterdam because she was telling him, hey, we got to go to Amsterdam. We're going to have so much fun there. We can take it over there, sell it, And he says, so now he's running out of cash, and he goes back to the guy, to the dealer guy, and says, you know what? And on the way, he's all like, you know what? I changed my mind. I really don't want to do this. So he goes back to the guy and says, you know what? Hey, you know what? I changed my mind. This is not me. I really don't want to do this, right? I want to get my cash back and just, forget about the whole thing. The guy says, I can't do that. I can't just forget about the whole thing. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, you don't have to give me the whole thing back. Just, I'll sell I'll sell the thing right back to you. Nope. So he says, you know what, you gotta take it. So he's stuck, and he, boom, drops the block right in front of him. And he's got no other choice. He puts it in the backpack and goes out on the streets and says, all right, I'm gonna ship this back to our place, the retreat. So he goes to every place to ship this back. They all gotta open the suitcase that he put this in. And it's all like, no, you can't open the suitcase. They're like, no, we gotta open the suitcase. So he goes to 5 different places. Nobody allows it to go through without opening the suitcase. So he takes it, he goes, no, I can't open it. So he gets to the 6th person, and the 6th person says, oh yeah, I can ship this, no problem, and I don't have to look inside, no problem. Here you go. Fill out this card. To and where from. To and where. And then it goes, all right. Oh, he gets so excited. He's so happy. So like, oh, finally, I find one place that is not gonna open this thing up. Oh, I am so safe, thank goodness. So he starts to fill this out, right? Fills out the card, gives it to the guy. The guy tapes it around the suitcase, dumps it in. The guy gets in the cab to get back to his place, right? On the cab, he starts sweating, right? And he starts getting nervous. And he thinks to himself, what the hell did I just do? I filled out that card with my own information, with my own address, with my own name. What is going on? Oh, he is nervous. He is nervous. He is not having a good day. He gets back to the retreat. By the way, this retreat was for OSHA, and this was in India, right? So he gets back to the retreat. As soon as he gets into the gate that, to go in, the gate guy, the security guy says, hey, wait, before you go in, so-and-so needs to see you. That's the head of the security of the retreat. Well, he kind of knows what's up, right? He's all like, okay, yeah, no problem. And he starts to kind of just like walk it off. And the security guy says, no, you can't go in. He needs to see you like right now. Like you can't go inside. He need right now. So he calls the guy over, sees him, he goes, hey, the police was looking for you. What's going on? At this point, he already knows what's up. He already knows what's going on. So he tells, he thinks if he tells the truth, it'll help. So he tells basically the head security, the guy in charge, if you would, this is what happened. I was low in cash. I took 7,000. I bought 6 kilos of hash, and the guy wouldn't give me my cash back, and I changed my mind, and I had to mail it. And the guy goes, "What do you mean you had to mail it? What do you mean 6 pounds? What?" So he picks up the phone. He calls the cops. He calls the cops. This guy says, "Wait a minute. We're supposed to be, we're all in this together. This is supposed to be a retreat. This is my second home." Calls the cops. The guy goes, "You're not one of us anymore." Calls the cops. Anyway, the guy ends up in prison. Indian prison. One of the worst prisons. And it's just awful. It's just awful. And I'm going to shrink the ending because this is an hour show, obviously. And I like to go into details because some of the details is very important, right? I hope you appreciate that. So he gets into prison and they give him a 10-year sentence. 10 years. And he is devastated. He doesn't know what to do, right? So one day after, like, I don't know, 3 years, 3.5 years. No. After about a year or so, he's sitting outside in the yard and he's sitting underneath a tree. And he's just sitting there and he's thinking to himself, what's gonna happen to him? He's probably gonna die here. Everybody's killing everybody. It's just a bad environment. Let's just call it a bad environment, right? So some guard comes up to him and gives him this note and says, "Hey, this tree you're sitting under, it was actually planted by Gandhi. Gandhi planted these trees, and he knew that he was never gonna see them. Decades after, now they're here, and you're sitting under a tree." When he was a political prisoner, he was in this prison. The guy goes, it gives him an idea. And here's the punchline for the live. There's something to be said about these people. Gandhi, going to a political prison for a very short period of time, and actually planting trees in a prison? Think about that. Would you be doing something like that in a prison? Now, we're not in a prison and we don't plant trees, let alone in a prison. Anyway, so it gives him an idea. And the next couple days or so, he gets a hold of an avocado seed. And this avocado seed, he actually plants this seed. And he puts brakes around where he planted the seed, and every day he makes sure this thing is moist and wet, has got enough water. Every day he would attend to this, and after, I don't remember how long, I want to say after about a few weeks, a tiny little stem comes off the dirt. Just a little tiny stem. And man, you gotta see this guy's excitement. He's like sleeping right next to the stem, and he's just, right in the yard of a prison with all the Indian prisoners around him. He doesn't care. He said in the next 3 years, he planted 15 avocado trees. in that prison. And he said he finally felt like there was a reason that he went to that prison. Now I want to ask you this. Now you can watch this episode Locked Up Abroad if you want to, on demand. When they said that, okay, when he wrapped up his story, and that's what he said, and there was a couple other things that he said, but now he lives in, I don't remember where he lives, but he lives in Bali. He lives in Bali, and he's a writer, and he writes, right? And where I want to share the thought with you is this. In a prison, in a foreign country prison, you don't know the language, you don't know a single soul, you have no idea when you're out, when you're in, you have no idea what your next day is like. You see people dying, you're not used to that environment. And then you decide to plant avocado trees. Think about that. It really hit me, man. The story really hit me. I had something else planned for tonight, but I saw this episode, I'm like, oh. How many of us we are in our own prisons? Let's call it. We put ourselves in our own prisons. I put myself in my own prison, right? Because I do that. You do that with your mindset, with your thoughts, with your principles, with your values, with your actions, with the people you hang around with your crowd, with the people that feed you information all day, right? Imagine that. We put ourselves in these prisons, right? But I've been talking about this a lot lately, and I don't know why it's been on my heart. But we start complaining and blaming, and not one time when we are blaming and complaining, and remember the index finger? Yeah. Not one time are we thinking of planting an avocado tree. Not one time are we thinking of, you know what? Let's look at the bright side. Let me see what I can do in this environment right here to make a difference, to shine in this worst environment ever, around the worst people ever. I want to shine in a positive way. I want to stand out, not only today, not only for the time that I'm serving my time, but for years to freaking come. Because for years that people will go to that prison, those guards will tell people that, listen, some white guy came here one time, and we never understood a word he said, but he planted some avocado trees. I love that story. And I love this Locked Up Abroad show, but this was one of their really good stories. Like, I really like this story because it reminds me personally that, hey, you know what? Sometimes you're in your own prison of your mind, of your soul, of your heart, of your emotions, and all you can see is just, the bars. Let's go with metaphor all the way. So all you can see around you are those bars because you're putting yourself in that prison, right? I'm thinking about me. Sometimes I find myself in those situations. I gotta be looking beyond the bars and look for where I can plant an avocado tree. I really gotta do that. How in the world somebody in that environment comes up with something like that? I think it's extraordinary. I think it's unbelievable. I think it's amazing. I really think it's amazing, and I pray that most of us, or not most of us, I pray that none of us end up in that situation, but all of us, in no matter what situation, we find a way to plant an avocado tree, to shine, to find the purpose, what that's teaching you, right? So I hope you got some love, some inspiration, some value. Drop your thoughts up below. Let this feed grow. I appreciate you. Hey, if you've seen this show, if you like one of the episodes, let me know. Let me know. Drop it in the comments. I would love to know. That's one of the shows I really like. And then definitely want to know your thoughts about this one. I want to know, hey, were you in a situation that you were like, felt like you were locked up and you looked for something to do, you looked for a way to shine and find a purpose in that extraordinary situation? Come on, don't be shy. Share with us, drop it in the comments below. Let this feed grow. I appreciate you guys. And remember, if you share, you show that you care. Until tomorrow, where we do it all over again. Much love.